Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fix My Fees podcast, where merchant processing is so boring, I bring on interesting CEOs from other businesses to come in and pick their brain. I'm your host, Tavious Washington, and today we have with me Dan. I'm going to butcher this. How do you pronounce your last name?
Like the CH is an S, but yeah, no one gets it, so don't worry about it. It's Kachtik.
I asked you before, and I'm usually good at getting it right, and I didn't remember. It slipped right as I was about to say it, and I didn't
I've
want to
been
butcher it.
doing it my whole life. Not a big deal.
Cool, man. But I saw yours as I was starting to looking, to helping CEOs more. And one thing that is overlooked is the health side of it. And you have been in the fitness industry for 25 years. So you've seen everything from Tae-Bo in the beginning till now,
Absolutely.
different things going up. But one thing that I saw even with you, and that's what made me reach out, was like something that was called like remote programming. Just to dive in a little bit before I ask, kind of like how we got there, what is remote programming and how does that even work?
So, we own a gym, King William District CrossFit. We've owned that for 15 years now, my wife and I. And so I have a membership base that we work with, but also there's a lot of people I used to work with or move and that kind of stuff. And they still want to do my programming because I do all the programming for the gym. Always have. I love it. I'm a nerd about it. And I realized people wanted to continue with it, or they have special goals. I'm training for a marathon. I'm training for this race. I'm training for a powerlifting comp, and they have specific things they want to work on. And I can do that for anyone, anywhere, regardless of whether they're in the gym or not. And then also on the diet side, we do a thing called functional feeding, which is really, you get feedback every day on the diet and stuff. Because I realize the devil is in the details with the diet. And we don't have to be with you to be able to do that. You take a lot of pictures of your food, but I find that to be that's a hard thing for a lot of people to get a handle on. And so we do both that with the diet and with the exercise for those that aren't local and at the gym.
Got it. Okay, so this expands your physical place so you can actually help people who may not be able to make it to you in person.
Exactly. That's what we do.
Got it. Yeah, I thought that might be it, but I don't like to assume things.
Sure.
I want to ask about it and dive into it. But how did you get to that progression? Because how did you even get into fitness? And then from there, what happened during that time that made you realize I need to expand further?
Great question. So I studied sports medicine in college. I was in Chicago at that time. I'm from South Texas, but I went to Chicago to go to college and then stayed for about 18 years working as a trainer. And then I got exposed to CrossFit around 2007. I knew I wanted to open up my own gym, and I thought that was a good, complete kind of foundational workout method that would work long term. But I wanted to do that back in Texas. And so my wife and I moved down here in 2011 and opened up King William District CrossFit in 2012. We're in the King William District of San Antonio. It's an old area kind of on the south side of downtown. And we opened up there. And I'm happy to say I've had a lot of members now for 10, 12 years, bunch between 5 and 10 years. People see the value and they get results. And so there's an extreme loyalty there. And as they started to move away, things would change. I get a job change, stuff changes in my life. At first, it happened more informally where people would be like, I want to continue your programming. And I wanted to continue a way to do that for them. And so I started just doing remote programming where I worked through a spreadsheet or we worked through our software at Wodify. And I could program for them even if they weren't local. And then the word kind of spread on that. And then other people, either old clients from Chicago or they heard about it from friends, started asking about it too. And we do that both with diet and exercise, with exercise and diet. And so then we expanded that into the diet side too. And we work with a lot of people in the gym on that, but we work with a lot of people that remote on that end. And we've had really good results with both when people do it. It's hard for me. I can't be as hands-on, obviously, but if you know what you're doing or I've worked with you and I can send you videos, you can send me videos, we can still do a very complete workout format. And so it just allowed me to expand my reach and to keep contact with people who I'd worked with in the past and wanted to continue going. In the gym itself, we've been going since 2012 now, and we've got a nice, very loyal membership base, growing slowly, kind of continually, that kind of stuff. We're in a good sweet spot. And it just allows me, there'll always be a limit to how many I can handle in the in my local gym. And this is a way to expand that out and be able to help people all over wherever they're at.
Nice. Have you always been like a gym person and this just kind of expanded on it, or did you
Yes,
find your
pretty
way to the
much.
gym
I
down
was
here?
always kind of a gym rat as I was growing up. And I kind of always knew this is what I wanted to do. So when I studied sports medicine in college, I didn't know if I was going to go the more athlete route and work that way. But I started training people and really realized I enjoyed the relationship. I found that part to be very engaging. And I like the subtleties of that because you got to give people what they need and also give them what they want. If they dread coming to that session, they're not going to continue
Yes.
forever. That's just human. So they've got to both get results and enjoy it. And a big part of that is your personality and your ability to be a chameleon and work with different types of personalities. I just found that very engaging and rewarding. And so I quickly realized I wanted to do it in my own gym. It took me a while to get to that point. I worked for Midtown Athletic. I worked for Lifetime Fitness, really learned a lot from both of those. In fact, I credit a lot of my success as a gym owner to having worked at those places because I saw the business side. And a lot of people get into gyms because they like working out. That has
Right.
very little to do with actually running a successful gym. You have to think about a lot of other stuff. And I see
Right.
some gym owners get burned out on that. I very much knew, I think more than most, what I was getting into, what was required on that end, a lot of the details of, yeah, how you minimize costs, what software you use, how you run a budget, all that kind of stuff. Like how you figure out what is an appropriate price to charge based on my facility, the expenses in the area, the demographics. You can't just like pick a number out of the sky. You've got to be very thoughtful
And
on it.
throw it on there.
Yeah. And so knowing all that really helped me, I think, get a leg up on running a gym and why we've survived like through COVID and other stuff because I was prepared to handle that kind of change.
Got it. Speaking of that, there is a lot of people, especially in like the entrepreneurial world, who get overwhelmed when they think about even just like starting it. "Oh, I'm already too busy as it is. How do I even get started?" I mean, I'll even take me for example. I just had to get there, right? Let's get there, do it. And so now I find myself riding bikes more because I don't have to think about it as much.
Right.
The little machine tells me, I pick a little
Yep.
way and it just kind of does it, and then I could get a good workout.
Hmm.
But once I get the lifting and the other stuff, I always overthink it and it takes forever. What would you say to somebody who's, I guess, that kind of advice? We're busy, we're trying to figure it out as we go along, get back in the gym
So I
type
think
thing.
there's two things. One, it is finding stuff you enjoy. You enjoy rucking, you enjoy biking, you enjoy whatever it may be, doing a occasional run. I want you to do that kind of stuff. But you're right. I think it's becoming much more well known now. We do need the resistance training as well. We need to work with external weight and
Yeah.
objects. And you have to either be willing to become a little bit of a nerd in that field and go into it, or you need to find someone or some place that you've learned to trust that if I just show up and do what I'm told to do, that I will get the results that I'm hoping to
Right.
get. And so as a gym owner and a programmer, I need to both give them stuff they'll enjoy doing and also give them the stuff that will get the results. So continue to see the value. And that's not just month over month, but from the time I'm 39 to 52, you need to continue to see those results. And how you stay fit as you age changes. And so what worked before may not work now. I don't work out as much as I used to. I don't go as hard as often. I still will go hard, as I would put it, but it's not as often because I don't recover as quickly. And so having someone to guide you through that, I think is for most people the best way to do it. There are others that like nerding out, and you can learn enough on your own if you're very conscious of your own body to do that, but that's going to take a lot more work on your part.
Well, how do you usually do that with someone and kind of figuring out what works best for them? Because if I like think of it from a CEO's perspective, they got to make the first person they choose kind of count because they'll make up an excuse if it doesn't work out, right? They don't pick Dan first and it doesn't work out. See, I don't have time for this. I have so much other to do. So like, how would you walk through, or at least can you give us like what people should look for when trying to find a you that will have their best interest at heart?
Good question. So You need to find someone that can, I think, succinctly and clearly explain what their plan is for you. Like, here's the plan, make sure it aligns with your plan. And anybody doing that, I need to ask you a lot of questions first to find out what your goals are. And so once I find that out, can I explain a path forward of how we accomplish that? And then you need to see continued attention to detail, that they are thinking about you, that they're adjusting movements. My knees aren't as good as they used to. So how I squat now is different than how I squatted in the past. I still think you need to squat. That's just simply sitting down and standing up. But whether we're doing that with weight, where the weight is, whether I'm sitting to a box or just squatting down, there's a number of variations, whether I'm doing single leg movements, maybe I'm doing more lunges. So the person really has to have a wide variety of tools in their toolbox to do that for you, because it will adjust over time. I always tell people the best, most effective workout is the one you haven't done before. Our body is
Mhm.
very good at adapting to whatever we do. That's why we survive as a species. We get better in whatever we do, we get more efficient at. And that's great from like an evolutionary standpoint. But if I'm trying to elicit new results in your body, then there needs to be some variety or some progression, some kind of pathway forward where it keeps getting a little harder or we do it different ways and that kind of stuff. So I think if you're seeing the same routine just month after month after month, there's the law of diminishing returns. That workout is not as effective as it used to be. And whether it's a simple thing of changing the sets and reps, changing the weights, changing the movement patterns, changing the amount of time we're doing any particular thing, there's a lot of ways to put variety in there that still isn't like reinventing the wheel each time, but just building on what we've been doing before.
How do you add the element of nutrition into that then?
Great question.
Are you helping them with like what to do, ingredients? Are you going more prototypical overview of what they should be doing? How does that factor in?
So I think in the nutrition space, I think there's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of images of I'm accomplishing something when you're really not. And that's why when we first started, we would do challenges like a lot of gyms or places do. I found those to be just completely ineffective long term. People would like get competitive or they'd really knuckle down for a month or 6 weeks or whatever you're doing. But there was nothing in that. They didn't learn any maintainable habits. And just like working out, your diet has to progress and change as you get older. What worked in my 20s did not work in my 30s and definitely doesn't work in my 50s. And so again, just because this worked for you then doesn't mean it works for you now. So I say with diet, the devil is in the details. And so it's actually the much harder part. A workout is just 1 hour of your day. Your diet is all of your day. And we eat out of convenience. We eat for emotional reasons. There's a lot of mental and emotional baggage with eating with all of us. And so that's the part where I need to get to know you individually. So how we do it, we have an app. You give us your goals. I want to get jacked. I want to lose weight, whatever it is. And then you take pictures of everything you eat. And that's all that's required because I can tell everything. I don't need portion size. I don't need any of that. I can tell everything I need to tell from the pictures. And then it's really get into how you can eat that is cleaner and better, but you're willing to do it. Some people love red meat. Some people don't like red meat. You can do it both ways. Some people like to eat a lot of meat. Some people don't like to eat a lot of meat. And again, one way I think is harder than the other, but both can work if you're willing to go down that road. And so when you're taking pictures, a lot of times with people, it's just making sure they're getting enough protein first. They need to, that's just a lot of people. They're getting way more of their calories from carbs than protein. And so it's balancing that out. A lot of people are afraid of fat and getting your nutrients from good sources of fat, avocado, nuts, there's different things, olive oil is a really key part of your diet that allows you to be satiated and not as hungry and not have the cravings as much and getting nutrients from a good source that's going to help your body. And so that's why with each person, it's kind of their own path. And some people are willing to be more aggressive on that path, but that takes a lot of discipline. Some people need to make small changes along the way. And we add in an avocado or we take out this snack. And so, yeah, we're going to do that for a month or so, see how you feel. And then we'll talk about taking something else out or adding something else in. And usually it's both. Let's try and switch this to this. Let's switch the rice to a sweet potato, something like that, and doing those kind of subtleties. And that's the best way we found that gives you long-term success. That I see people that have done it with us that are done, they don't do the program with us anymore, and they still look great. They still like how they feel because I taught them how they can do it on their own. That I'm
Right.
trying to teach you to fish instead of giving you a fish. I'm trying to teach you how to do it, and that is very personal. We have people that do it for 2 to 3 months and they're good. We have other people that have done it for 2 years and they're still going because they like having Big Brother on their shoulder to help give them a little more discipline.
Community,
Yeah,
right.
and I get that. And so it's just acknowledging that part is really hard, and we all have big aspirations, but I think it's very easy with diet to get discouraged. You have a bad meal and you're like, this isn't going to work, and you just give up. And just like with workouts, if you miss a day, you don't say, well, I'm never going back. You missed a day, it's not a big deal. You'll get back to the gym. Same with diet. I didn't plan this week out as well. I didn't go to the store. I ended up eating out. Okay. Like, we're never putting any guilt on you because I think people put plenty of guilt on themselves for how they eat. So, like, I don't need to do that. Let's just talk about how we can minimize the damage, start moving forward again. And that takes time to get better at. So it's a more complicated thing than I think a lot of people like to acknowledge. They want to do something for a month or 6 weeks, and we don't give meal plans because I think meal plans, it is the 1 in 100 that will do a meal plan. They like getting it. I got all this information and recipes. That's just not realistic for a lot of people to do that. So it's finding a way. Do you like to cook or do you like to eat out? If a lot of people like to eat out, that's fine. We'll go to those restaurants' menus and help you select, here's what I can get here, so I could alter this to this. And that way you can eat something at that restaurant that's a little healthier. So it's kind of meeting people where they're at on that.
Like I'd always tried and failed pretty much every diet
Yeah.
ever in my entire
Yes.
life. And the only thing that has worked was, like you said, I just changed one thing
Yes.
every now and then. Right. And next thing you know, it's like whenever I had cravings, I was always cookies and chips.
Yep.
Now it's oranges and apples.
That's great.
Right. And so
Yes.
it's like over time, it took in bad habits, but I just quit. Every time I tried to do some diet, it just would last for 2 weeks before I fail. Like you said, that one fail, and it's like, I got to start all back over. 75 hard. Got to start all back over. That kind of
When
thing.
you've been eating, when we've been eating sweets and a lot of carbs all the time, which we all are, you're not going to stop that cold turkey. It's just not realistic. So to your point,
Right.
Maybe I used to have a donut with breakfast, then I'd have some more cookies in the evening. Maybe I cut out one or the other. And even if I do that on 3 days of the week, that's better than nothing. And then maybe it's 4 days.
Right.
And you slowly work up, and slowly you're switching your body's cravings. You're eating the other stuff. So I think it's more about celebrating the good days and not getting bogged down on the bad days. And it is a process that's going to take your whole life. It's going to take time. That's weird. I love milk. But as I got older, I realized I couldn't drink as much milk because my body, my metabolism, I couldn't handle all the calories. I was starting to get a little puffy again that I didn't like. And so that's something I had to cut out. Same for the sweets. It's knowing like I'm going to have them occasionally, but just minimizing that as much as I can and finding those other snacks that keep me going most of the time. And then on the weekends, if I'm out with friends, I'm not going to sweat it. And it's not going to be a big deal if I have something.
Right. So, okay. So your cravings do somehow attach to what you're eating. Cause I did realize that like just over time, once I've swapped them out, I do crave more fruits than I ever did in my life, ever combined. And I didn't do anything special. I just found like the apple I like, which is Honeycrisp, and the mandarins that I like that I could eat. And so it's just finding those ones I like. But you're saying that there is a thing like that where if you swap those out, your body does crave the more nutrient focused things?
Percent. So that's the thing. We eat a lot of stuff that is processed food. It's nothing, it has a list of ingredients because it's nothing you'd find in nature. You know what I'm saying? That stuff
Right.
has an addictive quality. Again, those food companies make it so you want it again. And say, for instance, in the morning, when you eat a very carb heavy breakfast, you send your blood sugar up to the moon. And now you're on this craving. My blood sugar's up. I feel great. My blood sugar's down. I'm craving again. And you go on this spike, and your body is used to knowing I eat the chips, I eat the donut, I eat whatever it may be, and I get that immediate blood sugar rush. And so we are very addicted to that.
Yeah.
You slowly have to wean yourself off of that. And now you're finding your body gets the sugar from fruit and that kind of stuff, which is at least a natural form of it. It's nothing that needs a label. An apple is an apple. A mandarin is a mandarin. And so I'd much rather you get your sweet cravings from that kind of natural ingredients, because that's again, even evolutionary where we would have gotten those sources. And so as much as possible, it's just eating real food that looks like food that doesn't need ingredients. But we all eat so much processed stuff. It's going to take time to wean ourselves off of that. When I lived in Chicago, there's a million good Italian restaurants. I loved pasta. Like I loved going out and getting that. That was a several year long process of weaning me off. And then I'd switch to gluten-free pasta. And now I don't even crave it that much, but that took years to get to for me. And, it was first minimizing when I was going out. When we moved back here, there's this Italian place, Gennaro, is not far from the house. My wife and I loved it. Now we go there like once a month, whereas before it was like once a week. And we know we can afford the splurge because the rest of the time we're not doing it. But that didn't happen overnight.
Right. Right. That's it. So since you are talking to people a lot, right? You probably run into where people feel that something that's happening to them is unique, right? It's happening to me. It's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. Yes.
What is something like that that's common that you would realize, like probably a lot of CEOs, a lot of C-suite managers, people who are high functioning, or they're spending a lot of hours at their job. What is something that they may feel like they're dealing with when it comes to their health or nutrition that a lot of people deal with, but they just aren't paying attention to or actively putting effort into?
So, yes. So whether it's diet or exercise in that, when you're making a real change, you're taking yourself out of your comfort zone. So for a little while, it's not going to feel great. And I get lots of people that we start minimizing the carbs and they're like, I don't feel as good. And yeah, you're probably not going to for a little while, a few days. It's not like 2 months, but it's a few days because your body is adapting to, I'm not getting this sugar rush every time from these processed carbs that I'm used to. When you're in that state, you actually know, okay, I'm actually doing something real. Like this is actually it's just like if I get up at 4 a.m. every day. If I asked somebody else that wasn't used to doing that, they would not feel good getting up at 4 a.m. for a while. That doesn't
Right.
mean it's bad for you. It means your body has to adjust and get used to it. It feels fine to me. I'm also in bed at 7:30. So like there's different ways when you're making a real habit change from how you used to do it. There's always going to be an uncomfortable period there. And to me, that's a good sign, not a bad sign. Let's let our body adjust to this and move forward. Now, if you feel bad 6 weeks later from whatever it is, maybe you're not getting enough carbs. So maybe we need to add carbs back in, but there's always going to be an adjustment period, whether it's with diet or any lifestyle change that at first is not going to feel natural until it's a habit. And that's going to take, 3 to 6 weeks, depending on what it is.
Yeah. I think that is one of the follies in a lot of working out and things like that is if we don't feel it, and maybe it's just because of like how we've been consumerism, right?
Yeah,
Everything needs to be immediate. And so when we do something, if we don't get immediate effects or feel it or see it,
100%.
then we kind of write it off as not there. And it's like, no, but like, have you really managed your energy? Have you really monitored or thought about your energy
Yes.
throughout the day?
Like it.
And
Yes.
that's something when I gave up alcohol,
Same.
and I used to drink a lot of alcohol during the week, but I was functioning and no one knew it, right?
Same.
So at the evening, every night after work, I would do it. So the first week I went through it, third week, I was like, man, what was really the difference? What did I give this? But when I really look back at it, I had no crash around the 1, 2 o'clock I used to.
That's exactly.
And
I did the
that's what I
same.
didn't realize.
And I think that's so many people. And again, I'm not saying we're alcoholics. I enjoyed my glass of wine at night and I really enjoyed that every night. And I decided around 50, I was going to stop drinking. My wife did. And yeah, we'll still go out and have drinks if we're out to dinner with friends.
Right.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. But man, at first, that was like the hardest 3 weeks of anything I've ever done. It was hard. Like it was white knuckle, like just don't do it. And it took several tries. Once I got over the hump and suddenly I'm sleeping better, I have more energy during the day, like you said. Now it's easy because I know even if when I have those couple drinks on the weekend, man, I feel the difference in my sleep and how I wake up. And I like that. I enjoyed a couple, but it keeps reminding me this is how you felt all the time. And I wouldn't have said I felt bad, but like looking better, I feel way better now. But that was one of the hardest things I ever had to do. And that's a hard one for a lot of people. And again, it's just the steadiness of it. We're not getting hammered all the time, but I like a couple beers. I like a glass of wine at night. It helps chill me out. And at first, I'd feel like it would help me go to sleep, but then it was a more fitful sleep. You know what I'm saying? I'd wake up more. I'd have to go pee in the night more, that kind of stuff. And so once I cut that out, I sleep longer. I sleep more restful, and yeah, I don't have those crashes in the afternoon. But it took a while to get to that point.
Yeah, it's funny. I thought the same thing. I
Yeah.
swear it was helping me sleep, and
Yeah.
I couldn't. But then when I stopped, I slept easier, faster. You know
Yes.
what I mean? It was a lot less. Let me watch this one more episode since I'm not sleepy. That kind
Exactly.
of
I
thing.
ended up going to bed earlier. Totally. And I think that's a
Right.
familiar story. That's another one, like you said, that a lot of people think is just unique to me. I think that is a lot of us nowadays because it's just such a part of our social and how we're used to doing things just becomes a part of your life. And as you get older, that becoming something you're much less tolerant to.
Yeah, and I think once you slowly make the changes, if you can stick with them, when you do the other thing you used to, you feel the difference, like you said.
I
Like
feel the
that was
difference in the
something
gym.
I realized every time I hang with my friends when I have a drink, I enjoy it.
Sure.
But then come the very next day, I go, "This is why I don't do it every day
Exactly.
anymore."
It keeps
There's
reminding
just
you.
no way. How did I function? Like I'm so drawn and tired and dragged.
Yes,
So like, you have to do it on a Friday or Saturday because I'm not about to do it on Sunday and then come do this podcast with you. I
exactly.
couldn't do it. But you were doing it so perfectly well before because you were functioning.
Yeah, you wouldn't have said anything was wrong. You didn't know the difference. But then suddenly you realize, oh, I feel way better. Because, yeah, every time you do it, it reminds you of, yeah, that's not the day I'm going to get my best workout. I'm not as sharp mentally. That kind of thing. Is it those subtle things? But at first, you're not going to feel good when you do that. Like it doesn't feel great. You're craving it. Like you're not going to bed as quickly. It takes a little time for your body to adjust.
And on the flip side, like when it comes to working out, I felt a lot of pain. And so I felt all the stuff in the beginning. And then there was one point in time I think I made a Facebook post about it too. I was like, do I like going to the gym? You just didn't realize it. But one time when I didn't go, I'm like, something doesn't feel right in my day. It's just, I don't know what it is. It didn't feel right. And then, I was like, wait, is it working out?
That
Do I
means,
like working out? It was just out of nowhere. I was like, wait, do I actually like it?
and that's where
You
like,
go from eating something.
I think I have an addictive personality. I think a lot of people do. You need to find an outlet for that, and getting addicted to good things like working out is a great way for that. When you work out, you release more serotonin, more dopamine. Your body, we don't get the chance to do physical work in a civilized society. We have to seek it out now. We have always done physical work. Our body craves that kind of stuff. And so once you've done it, I tell people, going to take, if you haven't worked out for a long time or at all, it's going to take 3 months. And that 3 months, you're going to be sore. It's going to be tiring. And then suddenly, to your point, I don't have to ask you to get in the gym because when you miss a day, you're eager to get back the next day. You miss that dopamine high, how you felt afterwards. You realize it gives you more energy, more mental clarity rather than the opposite. But yeah, with that too, that's going to take some time for your body to adjust to. But then once you're in, that's such a sweet spot to be where your body's going to tell you, I need to go to the gym when I miss a couple of days. It ensures that you're going to get back in it. Even if you go on vacation or it's been a busy week with work and I missed 2 or 3 days, you're going to get back in.
Yeah. Is there anything like for people who are behind their computers like this, or people who are, late in a lot of times in their day to days, is there anything that they can do that's just like small things to just help improve their life on like a small level, right? Hey, I just do this like every now and then. There doesn't really
There's a
tease, but
couple of
that
great
kind of
things. Yeah. So one, taking a walk after a meal, even if it's a 15-minute walk, but taking a walk after a meal really helps your body process the food, get your blood sugar amount to a maintainable level. There's tons of evidence to show that makes a huge difference in your consistent energy level during the day, avoiding the crash. And then it's some basic, like if you haven't gotten in, just some basic calisthenics. I'm doing some body squats, some sit-ups, and some push-ups. And whether it's push-ups on a chair, push-ups on the floor, push-ups from your knees, you can find a level that lets you work it, whether I'm squatting to a chair or squatting down, whether I'm doing sit-ups or crunches. Some basic body weight stuff will still release those hormones in you that have the same result as when you're in the gym. It wouldn't be something I'd want you to do all the time, but you could do that half of the time and you'd be fine. So doing it
right.
occasionally on the busy days is still giving you that benefit of I got my heart rate up, I got my blood circulating, I got my muscles working a little bit, and now I'm back into life. And I'm telling you, like doing that for 10 minutes is all you need. If you're willing to push a little bit, then that's all the time you need to do it.
I can just tell just from the way like you are animated like me with the hands, but you do have a passion for like genuinely helping people improve their health
I,
and getting through that.
I love it. I mean, I will say, having got into this, I I love it more now, 15 years in, 25 years in from when I started training than I did at the beginning because I know more now about how to help people. I've gone down.
Okay, so let's take like the average, like CEO. Well, let's not say the average. There's a lot of CEOs, entrepreneurs, C-suite managers in a lot of different positions who spend a lot of time just sitting here, right? They're like sitting here, whether it's on the phone,
Absolutely.
whether it's on their laptop. They spend a lot of time just kind of docile, not moving. Is there anything that you would recommend, or is there anything that they can do just in that time frame to make up for the fact that they're just sitting there all day long that they could do to improve their health, like little things that they can tangibly do now?
Absolutely. And working again, we just need to be active every day. We don't need to lift weights every day. We don't need to go like balls out every day and that kind of stuff. So one thing that's very well established, taking a little 10 to 20-minute walk after a meal. And again, we all have these Bluetooth things now. You can take phone calls and be multitasking and walking around, go outside if you have a place or walk around the office, wherever is convenient. And just taking that walk is going to help you avoid the crash in the afternoon. It's going to help you keep steady energy throughout the day. And then just some basic calisthenics, push-ups, sit-ups, air squats, that kind of stuff where you're working the big muscles on the body. And push-ups can be done on a desk, on a chair. Squats can be done in a chair and standing up. That's going to have the same hormone release and work all the big muscles in your body. And if you're even doing that 2 to 3 days a week and hitting the gym another 2 to 3 days, that would work fine forever. Like that's a really good way to just stay active. Because I tell people what's so much more important than going really hard is going consistently. So finding those consistent ways to stay active. Maybe you enjoy a bike ride in the evening. Maybe you want to walk your dogs after dinner. There's ways to do that, but just getting up and walking and then doing some basic body weight calisthenics. And there's a million of those on YouTube if you need some ideas. But just that kind of stuff, then you can know I still had a good, healthy, effective day. It wasn't like, oh, I've got to make up for this later. That was plenty good for that day. And the days you have time to get in the gym, whether that's the weekends or another day you get off early, you can get those other times in too.
Nice. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's something that I need to do a little bit more of is that extra walk, right? Just that extra walk
Yeah.
midday. Let me break up my day. I get some time to walk, do some sit-ups, do something. I think that's I think you're right. I don't have to do 30-minute workout, 5 minutes of just some sit-ups real quick, or what's that?
Yeah, I'm telling you, 5 to 10 minutes will have a world of difference over the course of days and weeks and
Yeah.
years.
Cause I love everything saying, cause it does remind me of what was the book that I read called The Slight Edge? Right? Like
Okay.
if you can't grasp on something to jump in, especially just be 1% better every day, right? If you're like,
That's
man,
it,
I
man.
can't I can't, I'm working out. It's better to just do one set of 10 sit-ups and nothing else than to do nothing. And then maybe tomorrow you do 11.
I mean, CEOs, C-suite people and business owners like myself, we tend to be driven people. We drive ourselves really hard. That's why we're
Right.
successful. And that's great, but we'll have the same mentality. If I can't go to the gym and kill myself, it's not worth it. And that's far from the truth. What is the truth is I just need to, yeah, take that extra walk, spend 10 minutes doing some body weight stuff, and I still moved the needle a little bit forward that day. And so that's so crucial. And it's just setting those expectations right in your head of I don't have 2 hours or an hour and a half to get to the gym and warm up and go hard and cool down and change. Fine. All you need is 10 to 15 minutes and you still got better that day.
Right. I like that. So when you got you got your actual business where your physical, I shouldn't say actual, your physical location, you have your
Yep.
online side where you're working with
Yep.
people. How do you balance that without, I know you did say you do some things with, I think you said your wife. So are you
Yes.
married? Like, how do you make that balance working? What are some of the things you like to do when you're not working out or helping people with their health?
So yeah, when I'm at the gym, which is usually 6 days a week, I always make time and I don't work out 6 days a week. Now that I'm in my 50s, it's more like 4 to 5 days. And so I make sure I'm taking class just like all my members are. That I usually take the 7:30 class or there's an 8:30 class. I have another coach that coaches that.
Nice.
And so I just make sure I get that in and I'm not scheduling meetings or client consults. That's an important part of my day too. And then on the weekends or the times I'm not at the gym, then I'm doing exactly what I told you. I'll make sure I go on an extra walk. I'll take the dogs for a walk again. Yeah, I have a little circuit, 5 push-ups. No, I'll do, yeah, either 5 push-ups, 10 squats, 15 sit-ups, or I'll do 5 pull-ups and then 10 push-ups and then 15 squats. I kind of vary it a little, but I know what I can do. And I do that for 10 to 20 minutes. It depends on how much time I have. And that's one of my favorite workouts. I come out of that feeling great. I'm not devastated, but I know I got a good workout. And those are workouts now I actually look forward to. They're just days I come out feeling really energetic and like I did something. So it's just, it's prioritizing it too. It's prioritizing that time, whether it is the 20 minutes on the busy day or on the other days, making sure I don't schedule stuff during that time. And then like when you're a business owner, CEO, you're not a 9 to 5 guy. I'm working on Saturdays, sometimes on Sundays. I'm working in the evenings, but I also have the freedom to carve out that niche in mid morning or mid afternoon or whenever it is to get the workout in too. And so it's just making sure a lot of people get so busy and their first thing to go is my workouts. We don't not eat when we're busy. Maybe we don't eat as much, which might be good. We don't not sleep. Maybe we don't sleep as much, but we still have to sleep. I think you need to put workouts in that same category. This has to happen at least 3 to 5 times a week, depending on the person. And I need to just, it takes so little time and it's going to make all the rest of your week more productive. So just making your mindset, this is not something that goes when I need more energy. It's something I need to do even more so when I need more energy, because that's where I get the energy from.
Right. And how do you eat when you're not trying to be healthy? What are some of the foods you like? Are you a big foodie where you try a lot of different things, or do you kind of stay in your world of certain
Good
things that you
question.
like?
So I'm in the right place in San Antonio. I love enchiladas. They're one of my favorites. I grew up on enchiladas living in the valley. I love enchiladas. I'm a big burger guy. I'm a burger
Yes.
connoisseur. And you know, a lot of times when I'm eating healthy, I'll do either no bun or I'll do no fries. And that's what, but I also want both. So like on occasionally myself and my daughter, especially on a Friday or Saturday, we'll go get a burger at the places we know we love. And so those are two. And then also there's a pizza place my daughter and I love, and we'll do that like every other week or something like that. So I'm doing it a couple times a month, and that's a day we look forward to. It's a real treat. And I know that's coming, and that helps me do better the rest of the time because I know
Hmm.
that's coming. And then my wife makes delicious cakes. And so whether it's my birthday or Scarlett's birthday, my daughter or my wife Janelle's birthday, I'm looking forward to that cake and I'm going to have a couple pieces of it and I'm going to enjoy it and know it's okay.
Nice. I like how you've incorporated that not only with your family but with your daughter too. And it's like, let's work to make this happen. It's kind of already starting to instill it, even if you do give them a lot more leeway because they're
I do.
kids, right? It's still the fact that they're seeing you be consistent, but still having fun that lets them know, okay, I don't have to, as I get older, I don't have to go what some people feel like is the most strictest, craziest diet, that's going crazy
I
for,
mean,
and don't get no
even today, even today, Scarlett gets it in moderation. My parents bought us some macaroons, these cookies from a little bakery out by where they live.
macaroons.
We both love macaroons. And so I had 4 of it. I'm like, all right, Scarlett, I'm going to have one. You're going to have one today and we'll have one tomorrow. And she's just used to that kind of behavior. She'll know during the week, we're getting the burger with no bun. We can look forward to Friday when we get the burger, bun, fries. We get the whole thing. If you want a milkshake, I'll get you a milkshake, that kind of thing. And so she sees that this is in general, we're very conscious of what we eat. And
Right.
then we can allow ourselves to splurge and I don't have a guilt trip over it. Like that was fun. That was cool. And,
Yeah.
and it's showing it in moderation because I don't want to give her a complex. I don't want her to be the weird kid at the party that can't have cake. If she's at a birthday party, let her have cake. I don't want her sweating it. But most of the time at home, yeah, we're eating mostly meat and vegetables. We're eating food that looks like food. If she wants a piece of fruit, she can have a piece of fruit. Great. But we're eating mainly whole foods that way. And then we have these other little treats. And so that way too, I think there might be the tendency I've seen kids that if their parents are super strict, I think you're doing them a disservice because then when they become adults, there's the tendency to go completely off the wagon because they never got to do this and now
Yep.
they're adults. So just teach them, don't demonize this stuff. Just show them there's a disciplined way to do it in moderation and you feel good most of the time and you still get to do what you want occasionally.
Yeah. I wish I would have tried more things, right? It was like the same food. So if I didn't like it, it was just like, I didn't like it. I wish I didn't realize how many different fruits and vegetables that I do like until I just started making a whole bunch of different fruits and vegetables, and I like them.
And that's it. She's very cautious. So a lot of times when we have a new vegetable or fruit, she's like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
But then we'll eat it a couple times. And then she's like, all right, I'll try it. And then, oh, that wasn't bad. And suddenly it's added to the menu of stuff she'll be willing to eat. But I appreciate her cautiousness as a kid. I was like that too. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to force you. You don't have to eat it right now, but she'll see us eat it. And then eventually she'll try it.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you so much, Dan, for coming on here and dropping that knowledge. There's a lot of things that people can take to heart, things that they can implement, things they can think about. And also it's that time that if you're not starting, giving them that push to be able to start the research and going ahead. So I do appreciate you coming on, but there may be people out there who are from your city, say where your physical location is too. And then, let
Yep.
people know how they can get in touch with you if they're maybe not there and they want to get in touch with them. But I want, just in case there is somebody from there, I want them to know that physical location. So how can people get
Thank
in
you
touch?
very much. And this was a great conversation. I enjoyed it too. Thank you so much. This was awesome. So yeah, the easiest way first, the name of my gym is King William District CrossFit. And if you type that in that's our website, kingwilliamdistrictcrossfit.com. You'll be able to get a hold of me, my wife. That's where we talk about, we call the diet plan functional feeding. So there's functional feeding, there's remote programming. You can just contact me if you want to talk to me. Also on Instagram, it's the same thing, King William District CrossFit. And then I have my own YouTube channel. It's Right On with Dan is the name of my channel. And I just talk about all the same stuff we talked about. Diet, exercise. I started directing it towards my members when I started like 3 years ago.
Mhm.
And now the audience is greatly expanded because I'm just talking about real life stuff. The same stuff you and I are dealing with, most people are dealing with. And I found it's resonated. So if you want to look that up, I'm a YouTube junkie. I like listening to stuff in the car and
Me
stuff
too.
like that. So that's another way to find it.
Yep. Yep. That's why YouTube is the only place where if there's a level where there's no ads, I actually pay for their no ads.
I do
Everywhere
too.
else, I don't care about the ads, but YouTube, I listen to it so much that morning, midday, afternoon. Yeah. So I'm definitely a premium.
I am a premium guy too for the same reason. There's just so much good information and I can go down whatever rabbit hole I want to go down on there. And I just really enjoy that.
So much fun. Well, thank you
Yeah.
again, Dan. I really do appreciate having you on. Maybe we got to do like a New Year's one, right? Get some people some
I would love to do
tangible
another one.
steps for the New Year's resolutions and stuff.
That'd be fantastic. I'd love to do that. Thank you for your time. This was great.
Thank you. Thank you once again. This has been so much fun. And if thank you guys for listening. And if you really, really did enjoy this, I would say reach out to Dan if you have any questions. At least send him a thank you. If you learned anything,
Yeah.
if there's anything that you can implement, but maybe you don't feel like you can reach out to him yet, send him a thank you, right? Send him a thank you. Because I really think that some of this stuff here, you can go into like your AI if you like it and, have them
Absolutely.
help you put together some things and reach out to some people. So I think that's awesome. So thank you again,
Right
Dan.
on. Thank you.
Like and subscribe, everyone. And if you have a interesting business like Dan does, and you want to be on my podcast like him too, then reach out to me, Tavious at fixmyfeesteam.com. I'll put all Dan's information in the bio so you can click on that also. But have a wonderful day, everybody, and good night.
Thank you.